Now, the legendary folk song queen lives in the mountainous Cheongjiang County in central Hainan. Mr. Xie Wenjing suggested that we follow in Wang Fuda's footsteps and make a tour of the island first, instead of rushing to visit her right. The inhabitants of the western part of Hainan are mostly Han. Except for the fact that the first Han people moved here from the mainland, we hardly know anything about their exact origins, why they left their hometowns and came to the ends of the earth, or how they've survived for thousands of years on an island that was once desolate and wild. Interestingly, however, the answers to our questions lie in the ancient folk songs sung in various Hainan dialects.
你挂车是你啊，挂青啊路儿转多，你多呀是你多。
As the song unfolds, its primitive and simple tune seems to bring historical scenes from 2,000 years ago to life. Around 2,000 years ago, an army of the Han dynasty led by Ma Yuan, the illustrious General Fu Bo, landed on the island and set up camps throughout the northwestern plains. In the succeeding dynasties, these campsites turned into regular garrison posts. In the Ming dynasty, between the 14th and 17th century, the military was organized by the Wei Suo system, which split the army up into numerous Wei or Suo in frontier lands where the troops were trained. Thus, the former garrison post on the island became Wei and Suo stations, which explains such place names as Ba Suo, the 8th Suo, and Shi Suo, the 10th Suo, still in use today in the city of Dongfang. In ancient China, most garrisons stationed in Hainan were dispatched from the northern part of the country. After generations guarding and living on the island, the people of these regions continued to speak the mother tongue of their ancestors, which was known by locals as the Jun or army dialect, to distinguish it from indigenous dialects. Like an insect in amber from thousands of years ago, the Jun dialect remains the same in many ways as the ancient Mandarin Chinese spoken by the mainlanders. It's said that General Fu Bo's army celebrated their landing on the island by holding dragon boat contests and other recreational activities each year on May the 5th in the Chinese lunar calendar. As time passed, these celebrations evolved into a special festival for Jun dialect speakers, the Xianan Festival. Of all traditional events, the most important is the singing of antiphonal folk songs in the Jun dialect. Though derived from the language of military troops, the folk songs sung in the Jun dialect feature tender and graceful melodies. The lyrics have nothing to do with swords or guns, but reflect mostly the affection between men and women.
这个军话民歌啊，它这个曲调很多啊，它有高调、平调、雅调、白调、叹调、韵调等10多种。
我们这个军话民歌啊，有几千年的历史了。军话民歌是 各种文化的交融，演绎了数千年了。
那些你讲，那些你讲，那些你讲。
Through the ages, soldiers, government officers, fishermen from Guangdong, Fujian and other coastal provinces, and refugees and exiles kept moving to Hainan from the mainland, all bringing their own dialects to the island. In addition to the languages of indigenous ethnic minorities, there are a surprising number of other dialects spoken in Hainan. Nevertheless, it has never been a problem for the indigenous islanders and the newcomers to communicate or band together. Wang Fu-da, the legendary folk song queen, is known to have learned folk songs in Mandarin and taught Li folk songs to the dialect of Lingao County. Lili Mei is an expression praising female beauty in the Lingao dialect. Accordingly, the lyrics of these songs are generally about love and romance.
为什么这个莉莉梅那么容易流行，那么容易传开呢？这主要在它这个衬语里面呢，很简单，因为它的音程也不宽，我哼几句给你们念。比如他每唱完一段内容以后，最后它的结尾，哩呀祖哩哩哩梅，哩哩哩梅路呀路呀。
Located in northwestern Hainan, Lingao County is well known for its folk arts, particularly the Li Li Mei fishermen songs and the unique and matchless puppet opera. Li Li Mei may date back to the Southern Song dynasty in the 12th century. At that time, the fisheries of Lingao were flourishing. Every day when the fishing boats returned to port, fisherwomen would hawk the fish at market. Their calls were so pleasing to the ear that they gradually turned into music, and eventually the Li Li Mei we hear today. Even now, whenever the fishermen and fisherwomen sail out to sea, they sing the Li Li Mei to their wives or husbands to say goodbye. And when they return home safely, they sing it again to express their love for each other. Folk songs are regarded as a treasure of the folk arts and vivid descriptions of history. Some, like the folk songs in the Jun dialect, depict the old times, when the Han Dynasty garrison guarded the southern frontier, and some mirror the evolution and development of the Han culture in Hainan. February the 2nd in the Chinese lunar calendar is the traditional Long Tai To festival for the Han people, which is celebrated in all villages and counties of Danzhou. Singing Jiao Shang tunes is a big component of such celebrations.
这个讲到漳州呢，它跟临港呢截然不同的风格了。我们在漳州的民歌里面，它有山歌、调声、二句半，还有客家山歌。在漳州最出名的呢就是调声。
Danzhou's Jianshang tunes can be classified as mountain songs from inland Hainan. As old as the folk songs in the Jun dialect, they've evolved over the centuries and absorbed the musical traditions of indigenous ethnic groups. Around the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Jiaoshang tunes were already a mature musical form.
那调声对不对？就体现这种，特别是年轻人，唱调声不动就不行，好像我在这里唱，我也要动，才能够把他的情绪表达出来。
People will spontaneously hold hands and dance along when they sing Jiaoshang tunes. It's said that in the old days, when recreational activities were scarce, singing Jiaoshang tunes was the Danzhou people's favourite pastime, and they would keep singing the whole night through. Jiaoshang tunes are quite different from the Han people's songs in the mainland, since they represent a cultural blending of the Han and the local minorities. It's not hard to imagine that over the past century, we finish the trip along the west coast and start moving northward from the island's southernmost point, heading to the mountain area in the central region, that is, the Li minority group region. The Li minority people are generally believed to be the island's original inhabitants. So far, 130 Neolithic archaeological sites have been discovered in Hainan, and scientific studies show that they all belong to the Li people's ancestors. Over the last few thousand years, the Li people have built a diverse and splendid culture, and cotton textile manufacturing is one of their greatest achievements. For a certain period of time, brocade textiles made by the Li people far excelled those produced in the mainland. And it's from the Li people that Huang Dapur, a female textile expert at the turn of the 13th and 14th centuries, learned cotton processing skills and later made improvements which have had far-reaching influence on China's social and economic development. Though the Li people excel in textile manufacture, they don't have a written language of their own, and until the early 20th century still lived in a primitive agrarian society. Thus their folk art, in oral form, is more highly developed. The Li people in Hainan province speak 5 dialects, and different dialect groups vary in their traditional customs and their folk songs.
黎族现在为止有120多万人。黎族的民歌为什么讲得丰富呢？在黎族本身有5个方言，以前呢叫做5个支系，前几年呢经过开会有所统一，叫做方言，这样名称比较准确一点。比如这5个方言各有各的民歌，各有各的特色，但是又有它的共同点。
Kẻ cù vô lại lỡ chè cài xuôi lỡ được vui